and welcome to Lawd Lukan. It's time to grab your deerstalker and have a little fiddle as we, the Banana Hunters, take on our next fruit-based mystery, the Sonning Banana Mystery, and the curious truth behind Jimmy Page, Uri Geller, George Clooney, Robbie Williams, and an artist called FussyHuman. And please do welcome my partner in crime, Mustard Yellow.
A wave of perplexing plastic bananas has descended upon the picturesque village of Sonning, leaving residents divided. Enter the intrepid duo known as the Banana Hunters, Lawd Lukan and Mustard Yellow, who have vowed to get to the bottom of this fruity phenomenon.
This isn't Sonning's first brush with the bizarre. Previously, the village has been the unwitting canvas for a rogue artist, whose previous installations included a urinal, a fake postbox, and a front door. Now, 4 bananas, each crudely affixed to a white background with gaffer tape, have appeared, adding a surreal twist to Sonning's already quirky charm. Impro, a mysterious figure known for contacting the press with cryptic explanations of his artistic motives, remains elusive, but we the Banana Hunters are hot on his or her trail. In a bold move, we've even been spotted around Sonning, brandishing a sign that reads, "Impro, talk to us, Lawd Lukan." These have been sent out to press and Facebook groups to see if we can snare an interview with the artists themselves. Adding another layer of intrigue, the banana boundary is also affixed to the property of none other than legendary Led Zeppelin guitarist Jimmy Page. If we look at Sonning Common, we see 3 of the 4 fruit around Jimmy's house and a controversial church. But the 4th is way up here at a place called Sonning Eye. It's kind of like an arrow that's facing back on itself. Significant? Well, as one of the residents explained to Mustard and I, there was a controversy when funds allocated to a church roof suddenly got spent somewhere else. This church, in fact, who owns the Bull Pub and the adjoining buildings, except for this building here, and the location of 3 of the bananas. What's going on? Well, here's Mustard Yellow himself to explain what we found.
My name is Mustard Yellow and we're coming to you from the village of Sonning in Reading in Berkshire. We have discovered more bananas. Reported in the national press, there are 4 of these bananas littered around this little village. Placed in opportune and rather inaccessible areas around the village, this installation has been put in place by Impro, a local artist. The second of the installations, such as this one, placed on this brick wall here in this village of Sonning, is obviously very visible from the road. Lawd Lukan and I drove past this without realising where the actual location was and had to walk ourselves back up to it in order to capture some footage. Mounted on a piece of white plywood, the plastic bananas have been gaffer taped into place in order to replicate 2019 installation artwork Comedian. The main difference between the original artwork and these installations is these ones have actually been screwed into place. And so, with the light failing us and having located the last of the 4 banana installations, my name is Mustard Yellow, Lawd Lukan is behind the camera, and we will be bringing you as many fruit-based mysteries as we can uncover as the weeks go past.
Delightful, thank you, Mustard. I must add that we had no idea whose house this was when I was banging on his front door asking for comment. Lights are on, but he kind of ignored me. I mean, who does he think he is? Some sort of massively huge rock star? Doesn't he understand the gravity of these banana-based investigations? Rock stars. I personally wouldn't have known who he is. I think Jimmy Page looks more like Karl Lagerfeld than Jimmy Page. Other famous residents of Sonning include Uri, the Bender Geller, who expressed intrigue in the story back in 2013. In fact, Uri Geller found himself at the mercy of Sonning's rogue artist before. Back in May 2014, he got his own little statue for his services to cutlery. Got to say, it looks more like a urinal to me. The urinal. Before he left to return to his native Israel, he gifted the statue to the overwhelmed public, whose opinions ranged somewhere between indifferent and uninterested. But Geller, the world-famous psychic, said, "It'll be photographed 1,000,000 times." Hang on a second, said the great British public. The same British public who thought it'd be cool to have killing in the name as their Christmas #1. Good job. They said, "We're not having any of that kind of bendy spoon nonsense around here, thank you," and started to rebel by hanging dog poo and little signs on it. Meanwhile, Uri's spidey senses told him that maybe their people didn't like it very much. Yeah, good job, psychic man. Was it the poop hanging on it, the signs, or the general outrage that told you that? Maybe it was George Clooney. Uri, you see, thought it'd be a great idea to put his weird toilet seat-looking monstrosity right outside Clooney's house. Yeah, cheers, Uri. It's not even a good design, or even a well-constructed thing. I can imagine George Clooney looking out of his window, drinking his Nespressos, planning his next trip to that little island. You know, the island with more miners than a Peruvian gold mine. And saying to Anal, or whatever his wife's name is, "Oh, look, darling, Jeff's got a spot on the next plane." Oh, no. Sorry, slipped a bit there. I meant to say, "Oh, look, darling, Shiloh Pitt. Sorry, darling. Oh, look, darling, that bloody Geller fella from next door is putting up some kind of bright red urinal. Why the hell did we have to move next to this Hello, George. Hello, yes, hi, weirdo. Anyway, so Uri took the statue to his museum in Israel, and some thoughtful member of the public came and stuck a big golden cock in his place. It's actually a garden ornament sprayed gold. £40 and some change on eBay. Local residents, however, were mixed in their responses. One rather irritated resident, speaking anonymously after nearly running us over, expressed her frustration, calling the installation's criminal damage, perpetrated by an outsider taking a controversial stance on the church funding issue. I must add that she was also very accusing as to whether we were the perpetrators. And one of our sources also added that Impro wasn't a local person and was travelling from Oxfordshire to perform his art. Meanwhile, a delightful man called Oscar, here he is, picking his nose, whose room now serves as a backdrop for one of Impro's banana masterpieces, offered a different perspective. He admitted to hearing and seeing nothing during the installation, but conceded that the artwork was interesting. We also revealed that his landlady, Karen, however, was less than thrilled, expressing a preference for the previous, less sticky artworks of a postbox. But there's more to the Jimmy Page angle than we first knew. He was in a rather famous feud with ex-Take That performer Robbie Williams, who, if you don't know who he is, has just released a biopic where he's played by a monkey. Was it any good? Well, with a budget of a cool 110 million, it took 17 million globally, and only took 18k in its first weekend. So it's slightly better than that film Kroll, if you adjust for inflation, which lost 102 million, and slightly worse than Cowboys and Aliens, starring Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig, which only lost around 85 million. And it's half as bad as The Marvels, which lost 237 million. Good job. So what was the feud all about? Well, Jimmy Page, who has a net worth of around 170 million, is rather well known for lavish celebrity-soiled properties. He once owned Mill House in Windsor, formerly owned by Sir Michael Caine, and the location of where his bandmate, John Bonham, died. Page also owned Colskine House, which was the residence of notorious occultist Aleister Crowley, a man for whom Jimmy expressed much adoration. One of Jimmy's current homes is here in Sonning, designed and built by some guy called Edwin Ritzweber. He did all the London-looking stuff you can see about England. He's also got a delightful tower in London, a place where he has the dispute with neighbour Robbie. Kinda looks like Gru's retired to a posh London suburb. Things were all peachy with Jimmy's previous neighbour, Sir Michael Winner, director of such masterpieces as Death Wish with Charles Bronson, and a guy that looks like the stunt double for Billy the Weird Puppet Thing from Saw. But when that young ruffian Williams rocks up with his How Deep Is Your Love, it all goes south. Williams decided he wanted a cool Gru-type hideout too, and put in planning application for a huge subterranean lair, including a pool and a gym. But Jimmy wasn't having any of that. No, he said. All that excavation will wobble my lovely house around, and the bits might fall off. So, with a whole lot of love, I'm gonna have to reject and give you no quarter. Sure, said Williams. I'll be back for good though, never forget, and went off to see how deep his love was. Ramble on, said Jimmy. Also a major problem was the fact that Robbie wanted to slaughter a defenceless tree, and had a window that might look at Jimmy's tower mansion a little bit funny. I mean, you don't want people looking like your massive fucking castle in the street now, do you? You know, you buy a nice low-key pad, try and keep your low rock and roll profile, and someone goes and puts a window facing in your general direction. What is the world coming true? But Geraldine Winner, Sir Michael's widow, was devastated that one of the trees had to go. But then she suddenly did a U-turn when she took a look at Robbie's 2019 calendar and said, yeah, it's fine, yeah, Mike would have loved it. Williams is quoted as saying that he has no feud at all, and his application was approved after only 5 years of arguing about it. Robbie's spokesman also disputed these claims, and in 2020 he told SiriusXM, whether it's true or false, it doesn't matter. If it bleeds, it leads, so they put it in. I thought the story was hilarious, so I don't mind it being out there at all. Alas, it's not true. Hang on a second. So he didn't call him a tit. Or sing a song about this then. I'm gonna dig a big hole and fill it full of shit. And Williams has ended up digging a big hole. And gracious as ever in his victory, Robbie later commented, I won. Did we win? I don't know if there's any winners necessarily. I do know it makes a great story, and I'm really pleased just for me in general for the rest of my life. I'm really pleased it's Jimmy Page and not, Jimmy the accountant. Good man. The host then cut to an advert break. Williams, believing he was off air, then continued to talk about Page, saying, Jimmy has been sitting in his car outside our house with the windows down, 4 hours at a time with recording equipment. And also, just 2 weeks ago, the builders came in and he was sleeping in his garden, waiting for them. Honestly, it's like a mental illness. After the interview ended, neither Williams nor the radio station realised what had happened. But both the Facebook live broadcast and the online broadcast of the interview on the station's website were deleted shortly after. And here's where our artists begin to step in. Williams then became the target of an artist calling themselves FussyHuman, who created a poster which was stuck to Robbie's door, reading, "Let me excavate you." FussyHuman later took credit for the poster when it was pictured on the wall of Robbie Williams' house. An artist who likes to make statements in the Sonning area, making comments about properties and morality? Well, I've contacted FussyHuman for comment, but haven't received a response. Would it be too much of a leap to connect the two? Would it be a stretch to say that Impro and FussyHuman are likely to be the same person? FussyHuman, an urban artist, was most active between 2017 and 2019, and again around 2021. And I think we can glean this about him. He's a man that likes travel and old cinema. We can see that from memorabilia he keeps around him. The C90s, the VHSs, the SCART lead. He's a fan of the punk scene and has got a CBGB club mug. If you don't know, CBGB was a place which has hosted such acts as the Ramones, Agnostic Front, and Guns N' Roses before they're big. Sure, it's a dive, but the DNA dried into these walls has got some pedigree. He's also a keen tennis player, an Arsenal Football Club supporter. He's organised and elusive. I mean, it's not like he'd go and leave his own phone number on his dog's collar for us all to see, would it? Hang on a second. Good job. Oh, are FussyHuman and Impro the same people? And what about that symbol? Could it be a rudimentary spoon shape, therefore linking the two artists together? Will Impro contact us before we find him? Will I call him up and see what happens? Well, stay tuned for part 2 to find out. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to amuse you for a short time. If you like what we do, then please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Don't forget to show Mustard Yellow some love over on his channel, called, Mustard Yellow. And we'll be back Monday to Friday with Coffee at the Manor, a weekly reality TV breakdown video, and more on this investigation and others on the way. So until I see you again, stay beautiful, love to my 3, and you take care of yourself.